Tuesday the 3rd of June and I'm here to start another vlog. It is a bit of a grey, slightly rainy day out there, which is never my favourite, as you know, but I did have to go out this morning. We had booked our car in to be serviced for its annual service. Luckily, the garage that we book into is walkable, which is very handy because obviously I can drive the car there, but I need to get back. So the fact it's walkable is definitely a bonus, but it was a little bit drizzly. And yes, I had my waterproof on, but it's still not super fun to go out walking in the rain. But alas, the car needs to be serviced each year. So what are you gonna do? As you are probably aware, the first draft of my novel, The Lunar Quartz Library, is now finished. And now I am into editing or redrafting, revising, however you want to refer to it. Basically, we're going through, making the story better, and then obviously getting into things like copy edits further down the line. But right now it's very much I suppose what we would call a developmental edit. We're looking at the big picture, so the characters, the character arc, the overall structure, the plot, all of the big picture elements of this story are what I am focusing on with this redrafting effort. I started with chapters 1 and 2 yesterday, which was really good because when I came to them, I was like, oh, is this going to be, I hate everything I've written, or is this going to go the other way? And I'm pleased to report it went the other way, in the sense that I read, I was like, this is better than I remember it. It has obviously been quite some time, I think last year, that I started writing this book, and I haven't looked at that particular chapter since. So kind of come back to it after is essentially over 6 months. It was refreshing and I was very pleased with what I had initially wrote. There was only one thing that was slightly wrong with it. There were two characters having conversation, but they were in different parts of the same building and they could not have possibly had this conversation at that distance. So I needed to make sure one of them had moved to the other. But other than that, I liked it as a story opener. I've been going through Theodora Taylor's course, Butter Beginnings, to help me improve that first chapter, because whilst I'm happy with it, we still have some ways to go to make this into a first chapter that someone's going to open and be like, yes, I absolutely need to read on. It needs to be a little bit more elevated than it is currently, but that's fine. That's what drafting is all about. So yeah, Theodora Taylor's course, Butter Beginnings, is all about how to make that first chapter, that first scene, that first thing of your book absolutely irresistible so that the reader wants to keep reading. And if you don't know Theodora Taylor, she basically writes about the concept of universal fantasy, which is basically how tropes kind of open up a story into something that we really want to read. So it's not just how to use things like enemies to lovers to craft a story. It's about going deeper and seeing how that trope and the characters, etc., can really elevate a story and make you want to keep reading. So I have quite a few modules to go through on that course, but I have made a start. I probably will not complete the whole course and work on just chapter 1 at the same time. I think I'm going to kind of come back to it at a later date, because I don't want to spend all that time just working on one chapter. I want to get more into the story, because I can always come back and continue working on that. But for now, it's good enough, and we will come back and add to it once I have done more of the course. So my current aim is to do at least 3 chapters a week. I think I can probably do more than that, but as always, under promise, over deliver. I have my Kanban board behind me, as you can see. It's set up. All of these pink post-it notes are all basically chapter edits. So I have, for example, chapters 1 to 3. And if you don't know what this board is, basically everything in this section is to do, this section is doing, this section is done. All of the purple notes here are essentially chapters for the draft. All the pink ones are chapters that need to be redrafted, and just some other goals on the other colours there. And you also notice that all of the writing that was on this section, which is what I used to kind of think through ideas, planning, etc., has now gone because the first draft is finished. Currently, what is up here, we have some stuff for Incas Con, which is coming up on the 7th of June. That I am super excited about. So Incas Con is a 2-week-long conference for indie authors. As I understand, in the past, it has been kind of hybrid in that it's been both an in-person event, obviously over in America, and also a digital event, but this year is entirely digital and online. So you can, you know, go no matter where you are in the world. I had always wanted to go, but for me, it was a little cost prohibitive at the time. But now that I have, you know, sold more books, made more money, I'm able to attend. So I was super happy about that. And this right here is a very, very poor first draft of a map of my small town, Courts Falls. There's nothing remotely artistic about it. It's just a bunch of squares with labels on it. It will become something more artistic, but I'm keeping it under wraps for now. But that is just a reference guide for my own purposes. So today's plan is to continue doing some edits, and that is as far as I've gotten. Oh, and I'll show you some of the books that I'm using whilst I'm doing edits. I've talked about these before in my video about the books that I like to use for writing. I'll try and remember to pop a link here, but if not, it's easy to find. So I'm using currently the Emotion Thesaurus, and this is really great because I have a habit of just telling how people feel rather than showing. So for example, you know, a character says, oh, I feel really sad, like, and that's fine, but it's not good, it's not great. So going through the Emotion Thesaurus, it gives you examples of how you can show that a character is feeling sad, some of the mannerisms that they might express, things they might do, other ways that they would express that verbally. So it is really, really handy for avoiding the telling and to focus on the showing. And also the master lists for writers has been coming in very handy. It has a slightly wider range of topics than the Emotion Thesaurus. Here we've got how to do descriptions, different settings, plots, dialogue, etc. Just a slightly wider variety of things that you might need help with. So those are currently living on my desk, along with self-editing for self-publishers. I've stopped here because this next section is much more about copy edits, and we're certainly not ready for those yet, whereas the first section is focused on the big picture, i.e. the developmental edit. So I've left that there just so I can have a little reference to it. But yeah, I am actually really enjoying edits. I know a lot of people really hate them but I think because I'm a plotter, that I have gotten most of my kind of work in a way that kind of already makes sense, so I don't have as much to do in terms of drafting. Like, you know, it's 95% this makes sense, it just needs to be better rather than, oh my goodness, this is all messed up, this doesn't make any sense, which can happen possibly when you're more of a pantser. But yeah, going to be getting on with some copy edits today, so let's go. So it is Wednesday, so it is the next day from the last clip that you saw. It is around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I have been busy working on the redrafting. I have got 4 chapters done now, so I'm actually way ahead of schedule, which is great. I think I was kind of maybe overestimating how long this might take me to do the kind of big picture edit, particularly with the start of this story. I think what's going to happen is when I get into the middle part is that is where there is more work that needs doing. That's where the majority of the world building is going to come in. So I think we're going to go kind of full steam ahead on the first act of this story. But I think we're gonna slow down when we get to the middle part. But yeah, I am very happy as I've come to these chapters. I have again been thinking, wow, these are actually they're quite good, and I didn't need too much doing to them. I mean, obviously they're going to be looked at again beyond this, but for big picture stuff, they were not too bad at all. So I'm really pleased with the progress that I'm making with this so far. As you can see, I am just fresh out of the shower. I've got my Udi sleep tea on, which I do love because it has a big piece of pizza on the front, just to wear because, well, it's the afternoon, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not really doing anything, and I just want to be comfortable. But other than just updating you on the redrafting efforts, I thought I would share with you a little book post. There we go. These just came today, and I thought it'd be really fun to open them with you. I'm also expecting an Amazon delivery, but that's probably not going to come until late this afternoon, so I will not be filming or showing you that today. That can go into the next clip. So yeah, let's have a look and see these books. So first up, we have a package from World of Books. 100% recommend this company for used books. All of the descriptions about the condition of their book, always correct. I've never once had a book delivered from this company, from others I have, but World of Books have never sent me a book they have described as, say, very good condition that I would describe as fair at best. So recommend them. You can find them on eBay, you can find them on Amazon, and they of course have their own website. They have this new packaging though. I haven't seen this one, but it's very cute. What does it say? The feel-good place to buy books. Very nice, but we'll be going in my soft plastic recycling. And in this one we have this book, Career Success Without a Real Job, the career book for people too smart to work in corporations, by Ernie J. Zielinski, who I believe is a Canadian author. So I got this book because someone that I watch on here is reading this book from her library. She is someone that stays at home to look after her family, and she writes books, small non-fiction books, and she also does YouTube to bring in a small kind of semblance of income. But she was reading this and I thought it just sounded really interesting because it's about, you know, how we can kind of have the success that we're looking for in life, but it doesn't necessarily have to fit into that very strict definition of a career. It's not just for people who would have what you might refer to as portfolio careers. It's for people that are just looking for something a bit outside the norm. For example, people who want to write books for a living. That is not a straightforward career trajectory by any means. I think probably the back of this book is going to explain it way better than I can, so let's have a look. So this one-of-a-kind career guide challenges and inspires you to create your own dream job or operate an unconventional business, find your own important mission, true calling, or passionate pursuit with what you can make a great living, gain the courage to escape the corporate world so you don't have to spend the rest of your life trapped in a cubicle, Be creative and have fun in your work. Restructure your life so it has meaning, direction, and joy. That's the vibe. I won't read the whole thing, but yeah, it's about essentially stepping outside the boundaries of what we would call a career to create a means of living whereby you have the money that you need to live, but you're doing things in a way that is much more in line and in tune with you as a creative person. There's actually not too many copies of this going. I found that on eBay for £3.99, and it's in really good condition. It is available on Amazon UK at least, but it's more expensive than that, and the Kindle edition is more expensive than this, which is why I bought it in paperback. Let's go for book number 2. Man, you're not ready for this cover. You are not ready. I love this cover so much. It does have a price sticker on it. Should I take it off? Yeah, I'm going to take it off. Hold on. Thankfully, it's one of those stickers where it just pulls right off properly. Okay, so ta-da! Oh, I love this cover so much. This book is the sequel to the book I'm currently reading, which has an equally gorgeous cover. Is this one. These broken stars, this dress, and also this whole thing is embossed and it's amazing, but this dress. So this is not an illustration as I actually thought it was. I did a bit of digging. I looked up who designed this cover because I was absolutely enamored with it. These are real people, these are models, and both this cover and the book I just showed you, they were actually created on a stunt studio with models and trampolines to create this kind of zero gravity effect, because if you didn't get the vibe from this cover, this is set in space. It is a YA space opera, and there is a non-zero amount of spaceship falling out of the sky in the first book, hence why they're kind of doing this, trying to hold on to each other. But yeah, actual covers with actual models. These are from 2013. I don't know if we do any of that now. I just feel like all covers now are just illustrations and whatnot. There are not many people covers for sure right now. But yeah, so this is the sequel that I'm going to be super excited to dive into. This spacesuit. This spacesuit is so cool. I want this spacesuit. And I would also like this dress, which was a real dress that was also designed by the person who did the cover. Talented individual. And the story is great too. The book is great. This is not just, these covers are really lovely and I'm going to enjoy having them for the aesthetic on my shelves. This story I absolutely love as well. Yeah, this one, first one's 2013. I think this one's maybe a year or two after that. So a little bit far back, but I really enjoyed it reading it first time around, and I'm glad to now have copies. There is a third book in this season. No, there is a third book in this series, which I will also be picking up. But the reason that I wanted to get this one was because there was only one copy left that was a reasonable price, because all the other copies were £25 and above. And I love this cover, but I was not going to pay £25 to have it. This was the only copy there that was around the £5 mark, so I snatched it up before anyone else could. The third book has a lot better availability, so I don't need to worry about getting that one quite yet. So my plan for the afternoon is to catch up on some YouTube. There are a few vlogs and videos from some of the creators I follow that I definitely need to catch up on. So I'm going to kind of have a nice cup of tea and do that for a little while, given that my actual work for the day is done. I also need to roughly decide which other YouTube videos I'm filming this month. If you're new here, essentially on a Tuesday, I put up a how-to or an advice or a chatty sit-down style video about all things being an author and writing. And then Thursdays and Fridays, or rather Thursdays or Fridays, the vlog that you're now watching goes up. Obviously vlogs I just film over the course of the week, but the sit down videos certainly do require some pre-planning. I kind of have a list of ideas, but I need to go through and pick which ones that I want to film. I did not get a chance to film one this Tuesday, but I'm hoping to film that one on Friday instead, because, well, life, things happen, we have to rejig our plans. So yeah, just a nice relaxing afternoon for me, catching up on some YouTube, doing a very minimal amount of social media planning, and then just enjoying the rest of the day. I will be back here in the next clip showing you what I got from Amazon. Friday afternoon. It is around 1:30 and I am back in the kitchen because I have a craving for something very specific. So it may be June here in the UK, but it has been kind of wet and rainy most of the week, much more like the weather I would expect later in the year. And that's probably why I want this particular thing, which is a self-sourcing chocolate pudding. I think it's known in other places as something like chocolate lava cake. Essentially, it is a cake where when you kind of go into it, sauce is there and it's really, really good and really tasty. And I have a recipe to do it in the slow cooker, so it's almost entirely hands off, other than obviously putting the ingredients in. Can't really get away from that. And what to do is yesterday, but by the time I thought about it, it was way too late. Slow cooker, the secret's there in the name. It takes 4 hours. So I'm saying it going now so that it will be ready for later this evening, because I can just turn my slow cooker to keep warm once it's done. So yeah, let's put all this stuff together so I can enjoy tasty hot chocolate melting little cake later on today. This is our slow cooker. It's this really cute little size, which is perfect for just 2 people. And the outside of it is a like a blackboard paint, so you can write on it with chalk. I have no intentions of doing that here, but I just wanted to show you it so you can see how cute it was. So the only thing that I really dislike about this recipe is that it uses cups. I know the Americans are gonna hate me for this, but cups are a very messy, very time-consuming way to cook or bake anything, in my opinion. I was raised that we weigh things, and that is the way to get the most accurate measurement. I mean, look, already I have a huge mess, no matter how well I try. So that is the flour. Now we're going for the sugar. And next up is cocoa. quick break to wash my hands. Just going to mix that together a little bit more. And now we're adding the liquid ingredients. So as you can see, the batter which forms the cake is now all mixed up, and we're going to go ahead and put on the topping, which is what helps to give it that secret saucy middle. So the magic is that you resist the urge to stir. You just pour that water on, and we're now going to switch the slow cooker on and let it do its thing. Now we need to tackle this mess. So the melt in the middle cake is cooking, obviously for the next few hours. So in the meantime, I'm going to get started on tomorrow's dinner, which is basically jackfruit gyros. So gyros is a traditionally Greek food, a kind of wrap, and the filling, I believe, is normally chicken or pork. I could be very wrong. I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat those things. But essentially, it's a really tasty wrap filled with seasoned meat typically, but not in this case. And onions and French fries. It's like kind of Greek street food. So good. There's a online blog called The Lazy Cat, I think. Again, don't hold me to it. I will pop a link down below. That has a vegan version which uses jackfruit. If you're not familiar with jackfruit, it's basically a tropical fruit, typically grown in Thailand, but I know it is grown in some other tropical climates as well. Basically, when it's growing, before it ripens, it has a very neutral taste. It doesn't taste sweet, it doesn't taste sour, and it's really good for absorbing flavors. And when you kind of break it up, it has a very similar texture to pulled pork, so it's really useful for making that kind of dish, but obviously making it vegetarian. You used to actually be able to find it in most big supermarkets, but it seems to have gone out of fashion or something like that. And now, like everything else, Amazon, what has it come to that I have to buy groceries from Amazon because the supermarket doesn't sell them? It's just, it's absurd. But yeah, essentially they taste better if you make them a day ahead. So that's what I'm doing. And then once it's cooled down, it will go in the fridge ready for tomorrow. Yeah, so busy afternoon in the kitchen, getting everything ready. But as I said before, the kitchen is basically one of my favorite places to be. I love to cook, I love to bake. It's just something that brings me joy. I'm going to go ahead and end the vlog here. It seems like a really good ending point. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know below if you're going to try any of these recipes. Hopefully I remember to link them. I'm doing my best. If I ever say I've linked something and I haven't, please let me know in the comments. Sometimes I just forget, but let me know. Say, hey, you said you were going to say this, and I'll be on it. But thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button. I post vlogs every week, and author chatty vlogs sit down on Tuesdays. Thanks so much. Bye.